What is up, everybody? We got a great show tonight. We're going to be looking at some Dynasty ADP and how it relates to Dynasty Rankings. We got a nice little chart to look at to see where the experts rank players and where we're actually drafting them at. We have a great nonsense draft tonight, and we are bringing back the forgotten fantasy player that we have not done, I think, this year. This will be our first one of the year, so stay tuned.
Going for two, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah.
Welcome to episode 418. I am your host, of course, Geoff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at GeoffLambert77. Of course, we are live on the GoingFor2 Live Podcast Network. We're here every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we're also syndicated on all major podcast networks. I'm, as always, with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Searfoss. What's up, Ryan?
Not much. Kind of nice to be back to the normal groove. Hearing we have a certain segment coming back tonight, which I'm excited for.
Absolutely. Joining us tonight, he's been on the show quite a bit. Of course, he is a host of the Dynasty Saturday Night 5 right here on the GoingFor2 Live Network. Of course, I'm at Josh Walker. You can follow him on Twitter at Rotonaut. What's up, Josh?
Hey, thanks for having me back on. Me and Brian are actually talking about getting a couple episodes in the works for the next few weeks. Actually just went through, redid all my Dynasty rankings, so those are back updated on the site, so go check those out.
Good stuff. Yep, you can find all of our rankings over at GoingFor2.com. Let's go ahead and pay some bills. Of course, it is officially best ball season. There's no better place to draft than Underdog Fantasy. Fast, fun, and easy drafts. Underdog is the premier best ball platform. They also do, of course, NBA and NHL, which, of course, the playoffs are going on currently. They have pick'ems for all those games. Right now, we are hooking you up with up to $1,000 in bonus bucks if you use our promo code GF2. That's GF and the number 2 at sign up. Don't miss out. Draft your teams, make your picks, and win big with Underdog Fantasy. As I said at the top here, we're going to be doing.
It's best ball season.
It is best ball season.
It's best ball season. I got 3 going right now, baby.
Yep, I got a couple going as well, and
got that itch.
I'm gonna try to work it into one of our shows where we can do a live best ball draft. We'll see if we can get it figured out, the logistics of it, get it online. So we'll do that one of these shows. All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into our nonsense draft.
Attention, everyone! Let's mock draft.
All right, so last show we did Disney characters to pull off a heist. So I kind of stuck with the theme tonight. And we are doing fictional characters to be your getaway driver. So any fictional character that you think can if you robbed a bank or whatever you're getting away from, they're going to get you away scot-free. And Josh, of course, the guest always goes first here. So you got the 101, sir. So what do you got for your getaway driver?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with a movie that I've seen a while back, but I just watched on the plane when we were going over to London. It's Baby from Baby Driver.
Nice.
Guy just puts in his headphones, doesn't really worry about anything, but I don't know. I usually don't really like really long car chases, but that movie was really good. I just think he'd be able to get me out of anything.
Love it. Great 101 for sure. All right, Ryan, you got the 102.
Well, you said getaway driver, and you didn't specify where we're getting away from. So I'm going with the man who did the Kessel Run in 20 parsecs. That's Han Solo.
Nice. I love it. The Millennium Falcon. Ironically, I had Chewbacca on my list for the exact same reason. I was going to do the Millennium Falcon.
Funny.
So You kind of sniped me on that one. All right, I got 103, and I'm gonna go with so many good choices here. I'm gonna go with Frank Martin from The Transporter, right? Jason Statham's character always comes through. I think there's 3 of those out now. But it's just kind of a badass. He's he always delivers. So I'll take Frank Martin here at The Transporter at my 103 spot. Josh, you got the 201.
All right, I'm gonna go a little different with this one. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm gonna go with Lloyd Christmas here. They might be some of the dumbest people. They're wildly effective at getting the job done. And he's driving. He doesn't even have to look at the road, and he gets to go down the road. He might cause pileups, huge explosions, but they're weirdly effective. They're fun. I'd have a good time even if I got caught. So
is he driving that? What was that, like a dog or something? What was this?
Yeah, the dog is the dog grooming van.
That was Harry. Harry was driving the poodle. He was driving a limo at the start. He was a limo driver.
That's right. Okay. Good stuff. All right, Ryan, you get the 202.
All I know is I want to go fast, and I'm taking Ricky Bobby, the man who says gate first or last. If he wins all them races, causing wrecks, not caring, he's going to be the greatest getaway driver.
Nice. I love it. Shaking. All right. I'm up at the 203, and I'm going to go with the cartoon here. I'm taking Flash. He is the sloth from Zootopia. Of course, he moves really slow in real life, but then you put him into a car and he's zooming around. So I'm going to take Flash from Zootopia as my 203. All right, Josh, last pick here at the 301. What you got?
I like that Zootopia pick. So I'm going to go with one of my favorite actors here, one of my favorite roles, Randall Memphis Raines from Gone in 60 Seconds. That's the legendary Nick Cage, still in the Mustang, jumping the bridge. Nick Cage is one of my favorites, so I got to throw him in anywhere I can.
Nice. Love it. Love it. All right, Ryan, your last pick at the 302.
I need a driver who just physics and realism don't matter. Anything can be turned into a vehicle of pure speed.
Dr. Strange.
And that's Dominique Toretto.
Yeah.
There's no rules in any of the Fast and Furious movies after the first one. And he just bends them all. He's not allowed to lose in fights. It's in his contract. Can't get caught. In his contract. Dom Toretto, we're winning.
Funny, me and my wife, we talk about how we'd like to live our life a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
In memory of Dom.
Yeah, I had that one on my list as well. All right, I'm going to round this out here. So I went one with sort of a real character as my first round pick in Frank Martin, and then I went with the cartoon route in the second round. I'm going to go to the video game route here for my last pick, and I'm taking Mario from Mario Kart. He, obviously defies physics, can jump off of whatever, jump over stuff, shoots out turtles and everything else. So I'll take Mario from Mario Kart for my last pick here. All right, we're going to do a little Dynasty Rankings versus Dynasty ADP, buy or sell.
What you going to do? Buy or sell?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our chart here. And what I did is I went to DLF and I took their rankings and their ADP and compared them side by side, as you can see on the screen here. That far right column is the difference between their ADP and their rank. A negative number means that their rank is higher than their ADP. And then when we get down to the bottom to the positive numbers, that means their ADP is higher than their rank. I highlighted a few names there that I wanted to bring up. And then
the negatives of value is what you're saying.
Yeah, negatives of value. Exactly. Yep. So I'm going to, I got a few guys highlighted here. So, but if y'all wanted to talk about anybody else, feel free to bring them up. The first thing I want to talk about that I have on my list here is Mr. Dontavian Wicks. He is being ranked at 186, but he's being drafted at 218. Now, I know that's a very crowded receiver core there with the Packers, so I can see why people are kind of maybe fading him a little bit, waiting on him a little bit longer. But Josh, where do you land with Dontavian Wicks? Are you more towards the ranking side of things at the 186, or do you feel more like you want to wait on a guy like him and take a flyer at the 218, the ADP spot?
probably more with the ranking. I'm kind of off on everyone in that passing game outside of Golden. I'm out on Jaden Reed. I'm out on Watson's hurt. I think the fact that they drafted Golden where they did and they haven't done that in a really long time says that they're going to try and get him the ball, and the rest is just going to kind of be a crapshoot like it was. So I'm kind of out on Wicks. Plus, he drops the ball a lot. He's young, so anywhere I have him, I'm really just trying to trade him, throw him in as a trade piece.
Yeah, and that 218 ADP, I mean, he's essentially free, right? I mean,
yeah.
At that point, you're just banking on upside. Ryan, where do you fall with Dontavian Wicks?
I am out. Like, even at that value, this receiving core is just a nightmare. I kind of with him. I believe in Golden. I believe in Jaden Reed a little bit, but we still have, I don't know, 5 wide receiver 2 to 3s on this team, and a team with a running back who forces 300 touches and has a good defense. If it's not best ball, I don't want to touch Wicks, and I'll take him at his draft position in best ball at the value if he's there, because nobody wants him either. But that's the only way I'm doing it. In regular non-best ball, I'm not touching him because he's going to have like 1 or 2 big games. He might be a DFS play at some point during the season due to a matchup or injury or something, but that's it. He's going to win somebody the Millie Maker or some bullshit. But other than that, he's going to be useless.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the ADP has it closer to the right here because that receiving core is so crowded. It's going to take injuries for him to be really relevant, at least relevant enough that you can plug him into your lineup and feel comfortable. Like Ryan said, I think he'll have a couple games that he'll blow up, but trying to predict that, if everybody's healthy, there's just no way to do it. So I think the 218 is probably closer to where I feel about him. Is there anybody that you saw, Josh, that stood out to you that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, it's someone I was really high on and I still like. Audric Estime, I see him pretty high up on that list. I think a lot of people are kind of just fading him because of RJ Harvey. And I understand the draft capital is better on him than what they got for Estime. But at the same time, Estime, in his senior year of college, he was one of a top 2 or 3 running back in all of the country. So I still think there's something there. And I do think Peyton wants to give him a chance. I think it's going to be more of a split than people think, especially with a rookie coming in. Yeah, I still like Estimate closer to the 54. Let me see where I have him. I have him in the 46, so I'm higher on him. I think he's still going to get a lot of touches. He's still very young too. He was just as young as Braylon Allen, so he's still 22, I think. So
yeah, absolutely. I think DLF has him listed
21. Oh wow, yeah,
even younger. You're right. I mean, that's a pretty big disparity. A difference of 45 spots. The ranking has him at RB 54. ADP has him going at RB 79. And that I think does come down to the rookie being there. I think once we get down to the bottom, you're going to see a lot of rookies on the positive side of things here, where people are overdrafting rookies. Obviously, I think Harvey's going to be a good player. He was drafted pretty highly, so I think he's going to have obviously a role. But Audric Estime, I don't believe you can count him out just yet. And at that price, at that ADP of 225, again, essentially free. And running backs, obviously get opportunities because of injuries. So I like that call a lot.
Yep.
Ryan, what about you? Give me your thoughts on Estime and then any player that you saw that stood out to you.
The world never forgets the 4.740 or whatever slowness he was on. But like everyone always preaches, look for backfields in good offenses where there's question marks and you can see a clear path to starting. He has that. Like, he's one running back in front of him who's a rookie. He could not get your playbook fast enough, might not pick up pass protection fast enough, could get hurt, which we don't want to see, but like, he's number 2 on that depth chart, and it could be right then and there. And worst case scenario, a high scoring offense with Bo Nix and all the weapons they got, he has touchdown upside.
Yep.
Worst case scenario, he has the opportunity to be an RB2 if things go the right way. Even at RB 54, he's a value. When you're talking in that 54 range, we're talking Jalen Wright, DJ Gideons, Tyler Algier, Jordan James, Roshan Johnson. Like, there's guys who have harder chances to get the starting jobs on worse offenses.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Let's not
if
let's not discount.
54 is this kind of it's 79. It's great.
Yeah, let's
And
not discount the fact that that Sean Payton likes to have that that rotational backfield. He always has. I mean, he had Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram at one point. He had the Pierre Thomas and I think Mark Ingram in that backfield as well. I think he's pretty much always had a rotational backfield. So you can see a world where Estime and RJ Harvey are both being used in the offense for different reasons.
And you talk about another person who stood out to me is his teammate who stood out to me even more is Evan Ingram, which I'm always team Evan Ingram, but he was tight end 11 last year and is going to 17. He has more chance to get to the ball because there's not as many weapons outside of Cortland Sutton and Mims in Denver. He's a huge red zone threat. And again, young mobile quarterbacks, an athletic tight end who can create separation across the middle. There's a chance he becomes his best friend. I don't care about Adam Troutman, trash. Like Evan Ingram has top 5 potential this year. Heard it here first.
This is one of those things where I think, in dynasty startups, we're looking at that age, right? Like, oh, he's 30 years old. So everybody's kind of fading him. But,
Who cares?
30-year-old tight ends are still pretty good.
Chelsea's performed at 36.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 30 years old, and he wasn't beat up because he didn't get a ton of volume early on. I'm here for it. I like him with Bo Nix a lot.
Yeah, I think the rankers have him at tight end 11, and the ADP has him at tight end 17, being drafted 24 spots, beyond what the rank is. That's a 2 full rounds there essentially. That's great value for me. I think Evan Ingram for sure is one of those guys I'd be targeting. I think if I'm getting
I like 10, I had like 10 or 11 probably.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's where he should be. Agreed. Let's see. I want to talk about another guy that we talked about a little bit earlier when we were talking about Dontavian Wicks. I think you mentioned him, Ryan. Jaden Reed is on this list as well. He's ranked right now at 71. His ADP is at 90, so a full 19 spots. He is wide receiver 37 in the ranks and wide receiver 47 in the ADP. Going back to that Packers receiving core there, Josh, you have any more interest in Jaden Reed? We talked about Wicks a little bit, but now, Reed's in this offense with Golden. Romeo Dobbs is still there, obviously. What are your thoughts on Jaden Reed?
He's just too inconsistent. Sometimes he looks like the best receiver out on the field, and then sometimes he just looks like just a guy. So I try not to have guys that have really high variance like that if I'm not in a best ball league. Best ball, kind of like Wicks, I'll definitely draft him at 47. Probably not at 37. There's a lot more guys I'd like better, but around 47, 50, I'll definitely take a shot on him there because he could definitely win you some weeks because he does have big playability. You even got 2 tight ends in there that need the ball. You got Kraft and Musgrave. So there's just too many mouths to feed for me to really pick him up at like 36, 37 as a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I think that wide receiver 37 is probably a little bit too high. I do agree. Closer to that wide receiver 47 when you're taking those flyers. Again, injuries could spell a better path for him. But Ryan, what about you? What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think he'd be good. I think he's a playable receiver. I think he'd be a flex option during the season. And the thought of him hearing 37 feels like a value until you see just how deep the wide receiving core is, or the wide receiving group is in fantasy this year. There's no way it's 37 through 40 in ADP is Luther Burden, Mike Evans, George Pickens, Cortland Sutton. Get out of here taking him there. I don't care how much you like him. You're not going to. Him at the 47 to 55 range. So there's guys down there I'd take over him too, who I think will have better performances. I think he has upside. If he's on my team, I'm not selling him cheap, and I'm going to stash him because he could be good. The coach speak about him right now has already been off the charts. Matt LaFleur talked about how much he liked him, how he's bleeding the receiving room, stuff like that, which is a good sign, but it's still a hole because there's so much we just don't know about that offense.
Absolutely. Let's stick with the receivers here, Josh. I want to talk about George Pickens a little bit. Obviously, changing teams. We hope that a change of scenery sort of sparks him a little bit, but he is now the number 2 receiver in that offense, not the clear-cut number 1, of course, with CeeDee Lamb there. But he's got a better quarterback, better situation on offense, we hope. He's being ranked at receiver 31, being drafted at receiver 39. Spot different is 54 rank versus a 73. So again, a 19 spot difference here. Where do you fall on George Pickens here?
I honestly fall closer to the rank on this one. I think this is a great move for Pickens, honestly. And this will, to me, tell if it was just the situation that was toxic or if it's him. Because I think you got a veteran quarterback.
Yes.
You probably, but you got a veteran quarterback, and you also have a guy who's better than George Pickens and can prove that he's better, who can, he can kind of mentor a little bit. And if George Pickens still has his ego where he needs to be the alpha, then he's just the problem because he's not the number 1 in this offense. I don't think anyone's telling him that he is, but I think not being the one where he's getting double teamed, I think it's going to open up a lot of big plays for him. I think Dak Prescott's a really good quarterback to get him the ball. So I like it. It's really just on to him. He's his own worst enemy here. The only thing that's going to stop him, honestly.
Agreed. What about you, Ryan? Where do you fall on Pickens?
I love him in Dallas. So the Steelers offense, obviously, we know the quarterback situation. They had 499 pass attempts last year compared to 637 for Dallas, who was rotating quarterbacks. Dallas threw the ball an absolute ton. You had Jalen Tolbert for 79 targets last year. You had Kevontae Turpin with 52 targets. Now we have a real wide receiver across from CeeDee Lamb. He had over 100 targets in Pittsburgh. He's going to get over 100 targets as the wide receiver 2 in Dallas. Dallas isn't going to be a team who's playing defense and running the ball because they're just not built for that. They're going to be throwing it, playing catch up in shootouts. He's going to get fed, and he's going to catch single coverage all the time because CeeDee Lamb is absurd.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a big year. They could honestly if they both finish top 12 receivers this year, I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't either.
I'm not drafting him as a top 12 receiver, but I think he could finish as one.
We'll be asking Lamb and Pickens or Chase and Higgins.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good comparison. I like
Chase and Higgins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chase and Higgins. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you. I think Pickens is going to have a good season. I think he fits. He complements CeeDee Lamb and what he does pretty well. Pickens is that down the field sort of jump ball guy, makes those crazy catches. CeeDee Lamb works a lot of the underneath routes, plays in the slot a lot. So I think they both complement each other. And as Ryan mentioned, I mean, we're talking about almost 200 more pass attempts versus what he had in Pittsburgh. So it's a lot of balls to go around. So I think Pickens is gonna thrive here, and I do like the rank here as opposed to the ADP at 73. I think people are a little bit scared of him because of what he did the last couple of years, but I think the change of scenery is definitely going to help him out.
I mean, why are we acting like he wasn't good last year? He still did for that offense and what was there. He still produced.
George Pickens might be my favorite player to watch because anytime there's an interception, he's just tackling somebody and throwing them into the ground. He's not even trying to make a tackle. He's just doing something stupid off to the side. I love it. It makes me laugh so hard.
Pickens is a vicious player. I know
he's a pure menace.
Yeah,
he is
100%. All right, let's flip it here. Let's flip it to the other side of the chart here and look at some of the positives. These, of course, are the ADP is higher than the ranking. As you'll see, a lot of rookies are on here because we all have rookie fever. We're drafting these rookies probably higher than they should be drafted. So a lot of those rookies are falling down here. I'm sorry, they're being ranked higher than they're being drafted. But let's talk about a couple of the guys on this list here. Josh, is there anybody that stood out to you?
Yeah, there's someone I can see I'm already a lot higher on. That's going to be Kyle Williams. I have him ranked in the 30s. I think late 30s. I have him behind Josh Downs, who he reminds me a lot of. I think he's going to be a slot player, and I think him and Drake May. I think he's going to be a great option for Drake May in that offense. The offensive line is going to get a little better, but it's still not going to be great. So I think he's going to be a good intermediate and short option for him to go to. He's quick, agile, and I think I got him in the 4th round in some rookie drafts. That's an insane value. I have him ranked in the rookies wide receiver like 10 or 9. I just really like him. I think he's in a great fit. Josh McDaniels' offense is going to be a really good fit for him in the slot. So I like him. He's a screaming value for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ADP we have here is 99, whereas he's being ranked at 166. So the rankers don't feel the same as you. But of course, like I mentioned, we are drafting rookies higher than normal because it's that time of year where we're just going to be pushing the rookies up to the top. Ryan, talk about Carl
I would say at that level, most importantly, at that level, when you're that late in the draft, when you're talking the difference between wide receiver 70 and wide receiver 51, just get your guy.
Yeah.
Like, just get your guy at that point when we're that late. If you
Absolutely.
believe in him there, grab him. There's definitely opportunity in New England and a young up and coming quarterback. There's a lot of middling talent. If he can separate himself, he's somebody to, if you're doing drafts now, take him. If not, just watch camp news on how the depth chart's playing out.
Yeah.
And if he's popping. Because again, it's a dark throw at this point, but take your guy and pay attention.
Absolutely. Anybody you saw, Ryan, that stood out to you down here?
I feel like I see Alec Pierce's name where he's being drafted compared to his ADP. Or he's ranked for his ADP. I'm full anything anti-Indy in the passing game, and they should push that position right down more.
Who did you say?
Like,
What was his name? Alex Pierce?
I saw Alec Pierce at 89, is ranked at 89, going at 70. And I know I said about that late pick your cabin. I want no parts of that offense, and I just wanted to take this as a point to say I want no parts of any wide receivers on the Colts. And he's an example.
He's the only one that could actually get a pass completed from Anthony Richardson. He just had to be 50 yards down the field.
Exactly. Outrun everybody and just throw it as far as basically what their offense was.
Ryan, how do you feel about Tyler Warren? Do you think they're going to scheme to get him the ball to where Richardson doesn't have to pinpoint the ball? Or do you think he's just going to be trouble? Because that's the one I could see him and Downs are the two that I could see myself drafting at the right price, just because they can both catch short targets.
I mean, yeah, I like the idea of Warren. I think they have to force him the ball, and we have to trust the quarterback to do it. I just don't. I think Tyler Warren is going to become a huge fantasy buy mid to late season into next offseason. I don't think it's going to hit this year. I think I'm not going to buy him at his price now, but I think where we're going, he can bounce back very quickly. It's going to be one of those huge second or third year breakouts for him, just based on that just dog shit situation.
I mean, it even took good tight ends like McBride 2 or 3 years to really break out, anyways, and he's super talented. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and a more talented quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I want to say Cam Scatterbo too. And he's doing it running back 27, and while he's ranked at 43, I think the answer's somewhere in between. He has a chance to take over that offense and bring a power back to it. They really don't have a great passing game, and they're going to have to run the ball a ton. I think he can get some work. We saw Tracy flash last year, but they drafted Scatterbo early enough. He's a nice power back. He's super talented. I think he's one who I don't really hate at 27. I'd probably wait a little bit, but I think he has the upside to be higher than where he's positionally ranked.
Yeah, I like that call as well. Because you're right. I mean, he's got the opportunity for sure. I mean, that backfield's not.
I love Tracy. He did great for me in fantasy last year, but I don't believe in him, like long term or short term or anything.
Agreed. One of the guys I wanted to ask you about, Ryan, and where you fell. So he just signed his extension here with the Ravens. Derrick Henry, actually being drafted at 30 or 36. He's being ranked at 69, a difference of 32 spots. So people are really kind of drafting this older running back, whereas the rankers don't quite agree with that. What are your thoughts on Derrick Henry?
I think Derrick Henry is just this weird anomaly that he's going to go high because the team's going to be drafting and be in win now mode because their first few rounds are going to go very, very well. And he's going to be a must-have for those kind of teams. and teams who are going younger are going to stay away from it at all costs. It's very much how your draft is going build. And we're going to ride Derrick Henry till the wheels fall off because he's already making people look stupid with how he performed at age 30 and what he's got paid now. I think both sides. I'm just going to walk by and say both sides are right on this because it's based off how you feel and how your team's going.
Yeah.
Because he could he could do awesome this year. He wasn't slowing down last year, and they could fall off next year. The cliff can come at any time at that age.
Yep.
I just know he's a beast, and I'm going to run him till the wheels fall off when it comes to fantasy, and I'm just going to die with him on my bench.
Yeah.
Like he's going to die on my team because I'm never getting rid of him because I'm not going to get the value I feel appropriate, and this is a primary showcase of why.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was trying to debate somebody in one of my chats, and we were talking about running backs over 30, and I wanted to prove that for the most part, RBs over 30 don't perform. And I pulled up, most yards after the age of 30. And of course, Derrick Henry just turned 30. He's already the number one player in history of running back yards over 30, and he just turned 30. So
over Frank Gore?
Over Frank Gore, yeah, over Frank Gore. I think I'm trying to think who else was up on. Tiki Barber may have been up on that list as well. There's a couple guys that
Yeah, he didn't break out till really late.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was kind of crazy to see Derrick Henry already on the top of that list for sure. Josh, anybody you wanted to call out on this side of the chart?
Just looking here. I don't see him right here on the chart, but I do want to talk about Luther Burden because I haven't really had a chance to really talk about the rookies. I've been really high on Luther Burden since his junior year. I saw the talent there. That offense was terrible in Missouri. I think he's going to absolutely shine in Ben Johnson's offense. And part of the reason that confirmed this for me, I looked at Matt Waldman's take on him, and he has him at like the 104, 105 in rookie drafts. And I'm right there with him. I just thought I was kind of being crazy about that. So I just really like him. I think that's just projecting him, and it's kind of a risk that he's just going to be jumping into that Amon-Ra St. Brown role in the slot. And I think he's much more dynamic after the catch than St. Brown. And if he does fill in that role, I think he's going to immediately shine, and I think he's going to be a great value. So you can get him in the early second in a lot of rookie drafts, very end of the first. I think that's great. So yeah. I just wanted to take a second to talk about him.
Yeah, it looks like ADP agrees with you on that one because they got him at 69, but he's being ranked at 90, so almost over full 20 spots difference there with the ADP versus the ranking. So yeah, I agree. I think we had who did we have on 2 weeks ago, Ryan, that likes him? I can't think of who it was now.
I have him wide receiver 26 overall.
That's even
higher.
Pretty
high up there.
Yeah, it's pretty high. Even 10 spots higher than what the ADP has him on this chart. So yeah, that's pretty high. One of the guys I wanted to talk about, and trying to keep my homerism hat off, but Jauan Jennings. So I put Jauan Jennings.
It never happens. That never happens.
It never happens. You're right. But Jauan Jennings for me, ADP 87, but being ranked at 111.
Steal.
Absolutely. I think it's a steal. I mean, Debo is gone. The offense is going to be changing a little bit. Jauan Jennings had, of course, a pretty big season last year filling in. He's always been kind of the third down guy, right? Brock Purdy looks his way. He's got some of the best hands on the team. And I just think he's going to catapult off of the season he had last year and be even better this year. And people are overlooking him. They're still, Brandon Ayuk is still in the background. I know he won't start the season probably, but then they got, Ricky Pearsall's gotten some buzz as well. But people are forgetting about Jauan Jennings, Josh. What are your thoughts on Jennings?
I love Jauan Jennings. I think some people are afraid of him because they see the 27. But at the same time, I don't feel like he has the mileage that a lot of these other receivers have. He's kind of been in there as a blocker. And you watch him play, he doesn't look fast. He doesn't look quick, but he's able to separate. And he catches everything that comes his way. He's really good at catching one-on-one balls. And he was someone that Brock Purdy could lean on. Him and George Kittle were the two guys that when they needed a big catch, third down, needed some yards, he went there. I think he's an absolute steal here. I flipped Pearsall and got a second round on top. So I got Jauan Jennings in a second for Pearsall in a league. So I'm going to do that. I was like, he's 22. You can take the 22-year-old. I'll take the 27-year-old. It's fine.
Yeah. I
take it all day.
27 is not old for a receiver, especially like you mentioned. He doesn't have the mileage. He's not been featured in the offense. And he doesn't look fast. You're right, but he catches everything they throw his way. Like I said, some of the
uses his body well to separate.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things that Shanahan offense you have to do as a receiver is block, and he is one of the best blocking receivers, not only on his team but in the NFL. So he'll be on the field even in run situations where if they play action fake, he can get the ball down the field as well. So yeah, I like Jennings a lot. Anything you wanted to talk about with Jennings, Ryan?
Thanks. No, I'm just kidding. That's gonna be nice. I think that Jennings is a buy now, sell later. I think buy him at this price, and mid-season when he's starting to shine, sell him there because he's 27. I think he's the perfect kind of player to flip. It's like people bought him and flipped him last year. Do it and flip him again. I think he's the perfect guy to do that. I think he could finish wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, have a few big weeks, capitalize on him. He doesn't have wide receiver 1 upside, so give him to flip him.
I like it. Another receiver I wanted to talk about, older guy. We mentioned New England earlier, but Stephon Diggs, kind of had a okay season last year before he got injured. Currently being drafted at the 105. He's ranked at the 122, so a difference of 16 spots there. What do you see for Stephon Diggs this year, Ryan, in that Patriots offense?
I mean, he should be the wide receiver 1 there. Or he should be the wide receiver 1 there with a up-and-coming young quarterback, long as he doesn't berate him into the point where he breaks him as a human being. I think Diggs shines there. He's such a different caliber receiver than Matt Collins and Demario Douglas, the other starters. He should be 120-plus targets in that New England offense. You're not going to feel good drafting him, but you know what? You're going to play him, and he's going to produce for you.
Yeah,
it's a very up and coming offense. They have a good offensive line, good young quarterback, and they had 0 weapons last year. He's a big addition, and they paid him like he is one. He's gonna get filled.
Agreed. What about you, Josh? Where do you fall on Diggs?
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy. Just given his history, naturally, I just want to stay away. But at the same time, looking at the situation, it is really good. He's definitely going to be the X receiver. Shouldn't really come off the field unless he's tired or injured or something. No one's really going to push him for that job either. I like him. He's 31, so I think he's a really good person to throw in on trades to try and get that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll draft him in a startup, but just more someone I'll acquire if I'm trying to win now. Just a good piece to throw in the flex.
Yeah, he's definitely like a throw in on a trade for sure. I think on a large trade, just throwing stuff on Diggs.
Yeah,
if I get at least one good season out of him. So yeah, I like that. Ryan, you see anybody else you want to talk about?
I did, and I got to stop distract talking about Stephon Diggs. I got excited. Shit. Oh, Terry McLaurin. I think this is the first time that the ADP is above the rank for him, and still right. I don't care they have Deebo Samuel. He's still the man there. He's proved it last year. He balled out, and he just does this thing. He's only 29. Buy him at both values. If you're getting him at wide receiver after wide receiver 20, be happy about it because Terry McLaurin is going to produce fantasy.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him, where he's being drafted here. I thought,
it's actually higher than I expected.
Really?
I mean, when's the last time we've seen him up at wide receiver as going as a wide receiver 2?
True.
He was like wide receiver 40 last year.
You're right. That is absolutely true.
And people are finally believing. And it's almost to the point they believe too much. Which, I said it, and then I look where he's at with the wide receivers going around him. He might be going too high at this point, which makes me, I don't like to say.
Yeah.
Like I said it, then I looked up the rankings in order, and he's going ahead of some pretty heavy hitters.
Yeah, I think people are buying into that offense, right? That's the sexy team right now, right? I think the Lions had that a couple years ago. They're the sexy team. I think the Commanders now are the sexy team. You got the quarterback that's going to be probably the top quarterback in Superflex before long. Had a really good season. Terry McLaurin's his go-to receiver. They got Deebo Samuel there now. So they're kind of that sexy offense that you want to buy into. Where do you fall with Terry McLaurin, Josh?
You know, it's that sexy offense with the ugly jerseys and absolutely terrible stadium. I'm torn on McLaurin because he only had 1 or 2 bad games where he only had 2 or 3 targets. He had 117 targets on the year. Debo will eat into that, but I still think he's going to be the outside receiver a lot, and I think Jaden Daniels relied on him. I'm kind of in the middle of where those go. I don't know if I'll really be drafting him too much, honestly. I'd rather take a shot on a younger guy around the spot, but at the same time, if you have him on your team, he's a solid wide receiver 2 or 3, and he's someone you can just keep in there. You don't have to worry about spike weeks too much. He's pretty consistent.
I like it. All right, I want to talk about one more receiver here that was a young receiver last year that we were all excited about, and then they went out and they drafted another receiver this year, and people have kind of fallen off a little bit on him, and that's Jalen McMillan for the Bucks. Currently, ADP is at 144. It's being ranked at 128, a difference of 16 spots. Where do you see yourself drafting him, Josh? I mean, I know they got Emeka Mbuka, and everybody's excited about him, but you've got some older guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's had some injury issues. How do you feel about Jalen McMillan going into this season?
I'm probably a little bit closer to ADP than the ranking, but at the same time, it's not a huge discrepancy. I do think Egbuka is going to jump right in there and be the 3. I think he hurdles McMillan. You know, that I could be wrong. I saw some clips on Twitter today, actually, of McMillan looking pretty good running routes. But at the same time, I think Egbuka was one of the most pro-ready players. He could jump in immediately into an offense. Yeah, Godwin could get hurt, especially he's had a lot of injuries. Evans, not a ton, but at his age, you know, it's just around the corner. Anything could happen. That's all it takes for him to jump into a role and be productive. So I wouldn't fault anyone for taking him even in the 50s, but I'll probably wait a little more towards the 60s. Also, without Liam Cohen being there, I don't know how big of a step back that offense is going to take.
That's a good point. What about you, Ryan? Where do you fall with Jalen McMillan?
I'm on the ADP side. I'm an Abuka person, even though I think he's playing that Godwin role because I don't think Godwin's healthy yet. But there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. Like he already mentioned all the wide receivers. You also have Kate Otten. You have Bucky Irvin, Rashad White can catch the ball. Like, there's a lot of pieces to feed there. Trey Palmer is a decent deep threat at times. Even Sterling Shepard's there. Like, there's a lot of guys. It's going to be really hard for him to carve out a role. So I'm definitely I'm probably not going to have him on 18th, to be honest, even at the price.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I have him on a couple of my Dynasty rosters already, and I don't know what to do with him, right? Like, I'm just going to have to sit on him because his value is so low right now. I have to sit on him, and hopefully maybe next year if Mike Evans retires or if Chris Godwin, you know, moves on, whatever the case may be, and he gets his opportunity. But for now, it's like you got to hold him. If you have him, you got to hold him.
Yep.
Let's do one more. Is there another guy on this list, Josh?
What?
What was that, Ryan?
So where's DK Metcalf compared to his rank? I couldn't find him on this list.
Let me see if I can find him.
I feel like his ADP
is.
There he is right here. Looks like a difference of 9 spots. ADP's at 56, rankings at 47.
So wide receiver 29?
Yeah, receiver 29 and 26 in the rankings, so not a huge discrepancy as far as where he's being drafted.
Okay, I feel like he's a little bit of value at this point. Even how bad that Steelers offense is and not knowing who the quarterback is. He's still the only person to catch. He's still the only person to catch the ball there.
I don't want the wide receiver 1 in any Arthur Smith offense. I've seen how that goes with the Falcons. Plus, they got Caleb Johnson. I was going to kind of maybe talk about him. He loves the outside zone. Caleb Johnson's a perfect back for that outside zone. I think they're just going to run the ball way too much. I mean, he's going to have his moments, but also it really depends who the quarterback is.
I mean, you're not going to be able to run the ball with those matchups in the AFC North and those passing offenses in their schedule this year.
Oh, he'll try. Their
schedule's brutal. They're going to have to throw the ball at some point.
Yeah, that, like I said, that just depends who the quarterback is. If it's like Aaron Rodgers, I might be a little bit more excited. But someone like that who I know can get the ball out on time and to the right
You're
and
trusting Mason
he
Rudolph?
peppers his wide receiver one.
Mason Rudolph.
Hey, honestly, that wouldn't be as bad as some of the other options I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible there for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Any other guys y'all wanted to mention? Josh or Ryan, just jump in if y'all saw a guy you wanted to talk about.
How do y'all feel about Cam Ward?
I'll let you go first, Ryan.
Cam Ward is the wait and see for me. I hate the Tennessee offense.
I do too.
Like, I hate every piece around him. And I fear, like, I have that anytime a quarterback goes into that bad of a situation, I always have that fear that the team's going to ruin him. And I'm not a huge Cam Ward. He's my quarterback one this year, but I don't think he's a fantasy superstar. I don't think he runs well. He's more just big little space to make the throw. And unless you're an elite thrower with elite options, that does not lead to fantasy gold. Like, I don't see him being more than a low tier QB2, maybe mid tier QB2 at the most, just with what's around him. So I'm kind of out regardless, at least short term. If they make huge moves next offseason, it could change. But as of now, no, thank you.
Where do you fall, Josh?
I agree with Ryan. I could see him turning into a really good buy if he does like kind of struggle a little bit out the gate. If that offense is as bad as we think it is, I think it create a pretty good buying opportunity because people aren't spending a huge like amount of draft capital on rookie drafts to get him. He's going mid first, but I'm in a draft now and 5 running backs went before anything else. So
I got him at 6th spot in a super flex startup.
So I mean, like that's still kind of high. It's still pretty early, but at the same time, for a quarterback, it's not that bad. So I think he'll be a pretty good buy later. And I think after a few years, hopefully they'll build offense around him and he'll be good.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely waiting.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I'm in the league that's drafting in a couple days, and my only quarterback I have is Patrick Mahomes. I think my other quarterbacks are Kenny Pickett and Deshaun Watson. Obviously, I'm in a rebuild, and I don't even want to take Cam Ward. I got the 104. I don't even know if I want to take Cam Ward at the 104, even though I don't have a quarterback right now. I'm a little nervous on that. So
in a rebuild, you can wait.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna wait, take the best receiver there. If I, hopefully Ted McMillan falls, I'll take him at the 104 and just hope I get a quarterback next year.
I did want to talk about one more quarterback really quick.
Go ahead.
Bryce Young's a really good buy for me. I think he really improved at the end of the year. I think he showed confidence, and he actually was really good rushing the ball. He had a couple of rushing touchdowns and had pretty good yardage, and I think that offense is going to be better. I think he's going to be better, and it just took some time. I think his confidence was really crushed there for a little bit, but he seemed to have it back. It looked like he was having fun. And I think he's a good buy with Tet there. They got Mitchell Evans, who's a big tight end, big body. I think I like Bryce.
I think the rankers at 144. ADP though has him at 183. So quite a big disparity as far as ADP. They have him about the same quarterback, QB 22 versus 23, but 40 spots later than the actual draft.
I have one more running back, second-year guy, Trey Benson. I know we're like just waiting on the downfall of James Conner, which never seems to be happening. But he was high draft capital. They didn't really take anybody to replace him in Arizona, and he's still younger than a lot of the rookies this year. Trey Benson has upside in that offense, which is still super explosive offense at RB 38. Going 8 spots later, I really like that. I like him at that point of time.
He's a guy that I've been trying to get in trades too as a throw-in, right? Like I'm trying to get him to, hey, Connor just signed an extension. He had a really good season. Benson didn't really do much. I'm trying to get guys that are out on him to give me Trey Benson because for that reason, I think Ryan is right. I think he's got some upside. He's younger than some of the rookies that are coming out this year. Hasn't really gotten the opportunity yet, but if he does get the opportunity, I think he's a good running back to have some good upside there. Where do you fall with Benson, Josh?
I don't know what it is. I've just had no desire to go get Benson. I have a few shares of him where I got him in rookie drafts, and I'm just holding there just to see what happens. I'm not trying to get rid of him, but I'm also not trying to acquire him. I I wasn't the biggest fan of him coming out of college. He never surpassed 1,000 yards. Wasn't a super good receiver. I don't think he ever got over 300 yards receiving. So he could just be a two down back. But at the same time, when Connor's gone, what's stopping him from there? It's going to be a pretty good offense. So if you got him, hold. But I'm not really going out of my way to try to get him.
Fair enough.
Do you have Ray Davis on here somewhere?
I'm sure he's on here somewhere. Let me see if I can find
I know
him.
he's RB46. He's RB46 right now. And he's somebody I'm going to have ranked. I personally would have ranked much higher.
Let me see if I can find. If I can't find him, I'll sort the chart here and we'll find him that way.
Math ain't math for me. But either way, like James Cook's still undecided and missing in action.
That's true. That's
and Ray Davis had them short yard situations and still had some really nice games last year. He could be that. He could be the lead back in an offense that had a huge performance out of the running back position last year. And with Cook winning $15 million and holding still, this makes it easier. Okay, he's 46.
46.
RB 46.
RB.
Yeah.
All right.
147 total. Like 15th round, he could be the RB. He could be the RB1 on a top 5 offense in the league.
Still don't see him. 44 RB.
There he is.
There he is. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So it looks like ADP got him at 151 and rank has him at 159. So not a huge disparity there, but I do
think everybody's low on him.
Yeah, I like what you said about James Cook is still a little bit of a question mark there, and he was actually pretty decent even with Cook last year. I know he didn't get a ton of opportunities, but when the ones he did get opportunities, he made the best of them.
And he got him late. He had 440 yards last year and barely got burned.
Yep. Where do you fall on Ray Davis, Josh?
I love Ray Davis. I was pretty high on him in the rookie draft. I have a lot of shares of him because I was getting him late second, early third. I also do really like James Cook. The only problem is just Josh Allen being there does obviously take away some touchdowns because he does like to rush the ball in. He just really wants that MVP reward.
Yeah.
I love Ray Davis. I think he's a buy. He's really easy. I've acquired more of him in some trades. Yeah, I've got him straight up for like a 26th third or something, which I'm more than happy doing a future third for him.
Absolutely. With that upside for sure. Because an injury to James Cook, and he's going to be that offense, and I think he looked
or hold out or trade.
Yeah, or a hold out.
It's a realistic. If they don't want to give him $15 million, then make him a top 3 highest paid running back in the league, top 5 highest paid running back in the league. It's understandable on both sides.
Yep.
It's going to be a trend moving forward, I'm afraid, with running backs wanting more than what teams are wanting to give them.
Yeah, I think Barkley kind of opened their eyes like, oh, wait a minute. We get some more money and be an important piece to an offense. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up this, and we'll get into our fan favorite segment that we have not done this year.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, so you know how this works, Josh. You're going to give us a couple hints for me and Ryan to try to guess your guy here. So go ahead and give us your first hint.
All right. One of the hints might give it away, so I'm going to save that one for last. Let me find my sheet where I had this. All right. He was drafted by Miami in the 5th round in 2015.
5th round.
He was a running back. I'll give you the position.
Okay.
All right, I need more because I can't think of any running backs from.
All right, he went to Boise State.
That does.
Oh my God, Judge the guy.
No, I think he went to. Didn't he get drafted by the Colts?
You're close.
He did. I was the same team, but yeah,
you're close.
He went to Boise. Oh my God. Jay Ajayi.
Yep. Jay Ajayi.
Yes.
Yeah, in 2015, 2016, he rushed for, out of nowhere, 260 carries, almost 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, and he was really good receiving too. The last thing I was going to say was born in the UK. Yeah, he was always a fun player. I thought he was going to stick around for a while. Next year he had 800 yards, pretty good, but then I think injuries caught up to him. I think he had some knee injuries.
I think that knee got him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
he was really fun there for a while.
He went to Philly, right, at the end of his career and did absolutely nothing when he got to Philly. Yep.
Yeah, because one of my favorite Notre Dame running backs, Josh Adams, was there, and he beat him out for a spot, and I was kind of upset about that. But
all right, good stuff. That wraps up the show.
Glad I still got it, baby.
Yeah, yeah. Ryan had no rush whatsoever. I was drawing blank. I couldn't even think of a single running back for Miami Dolphins. I'm like,
Ricky Williams.
Dude, I don't know. As soon as you said Miami running back, I thought Ronnie Brown, but then you said 5th round. I'm like, nope, he was like 5th overall.
Yeah.
Once you said Joseph Adai, I was like, I thought you were thinking him, just had the name wrong. That's why I was like,
that's exactly what happened. Yep.
Good stuff. All right, let's go around the room real quick. Give us your Twitter handle, and if you're working on anything, you can go ahead and plug that. We'll go to you first, Josh.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Rotonaut. Been kind of inactive here for a while, taking some personal time to get my head straight. But me and Brian are going to be doing some shows on Saturday coming up, probably 2 weeks from now. That's the Dynasty Saturday Night 5. It's a Dynasty show. We cover 5 topics. Probably just do an overhaul of all the rookie stuff since we haven't been able to get together. You can check that out on the GoingFor2 YouTube channel, Saturday at 7:30. All my rankings are up on GoingFor2.com as well.
Good stuff. Ryan?
Twitter Foss534. Find me here Wednesday nights. Find me over at the Rookie Big Board, the Dynasty Big Board podcast. I normally drops Wednesday mornings. And yeah, that's it.
Good stuff. I want to plug once again, me and my daughter have our own podcast now. We are doing a Star Wars podcast. You can find us on YouTube at I Am No Jedi podcast on YouTube. We'll be having our second episode here pretty soon. We were gonna have it last week. Unfortunately, she got the flu, and we weren't able to do our second show. But it's a lot of fun. She's a huge Star Wars fan, probably even a bigger Star Wars fan than me. She knows all the names that I don't even know the names to, some of them. But we do all kinds of trivia and stuff. So if you're a Star Wars fan, check us out on YouTube. Just for some good fun. For Josh, for Ryan, I'm Geoff, and we will see y'all next week.